Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Life on the Ave. I am sitting here with the famous Robbie Jester.
I don't know about the F word. That's the only F word that I don't really like.
You feel famous to me. I feel a little starstruck. I'm excited. So we start this out. I give you like your quick little bio so everyone who maybe doesn't know who you are can learn a little bit about you. So I'm just going to jump right into it. As a lifelong restaurant brat, your website, your words.
Yep, my words.
Robbie began his career hanging out in the kitchen of his parents' Newark, Delaware sports bar. What's that? What was that called?
It was called the Village Pub in Prime Time.
Love that, the Village Pub. From there, he began washing dishes and cooking in his family's seafood restaurant, which solidified his passion for kitchens and interest in delicious food. A Culinary Institute of America graduate. That's a big acclamation. Chef Robbie Jester is most known for his appearances on Netflix Pressure Cooker, Guy's Grocery Games, and Beat Bobby Flay. He has been at the helm of many local restaurants and legendary establishments such as DuPont Country Club. I'm sure a lot of our listeners would appreciate that. Hotel DuPont, Piccolina Toscana, big Toscana fan, Stone Balloon Ale House, Limestone Barbecue and Bourbon, love that place, Expectation, and now is an owner of Pizzeria Mariana and in Jest Private Chef and Events.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
That's a lot.
When not working in the kitchen, Robbie is a huge believer in community contribution. He works tirelessly with the Delaware Restaurant Association, Pro Start Program, Project New Star, and other community organizations with a focus on feeding people and educating the chefs of tomorrow. Passing on to the next generation. I love that. He sits on the board of the Friends of Fusion Foundation, serving children and first responders in the state of Delaware. So welcome, Robbie.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Good to be here.
I watched this online. It's neat to be in
now
here.
Now you see it in real life.
Yeah, it's real life.
So what do you think?
I think it's great. It's a nice setup, you know. I'm working on my own, so
I love that.
It's exciting to get into somebody else's gig.
Yeah. Yep. Well, welcome. We're super excited to have you. I know you from the Netflix show. I watched you on the Netflix show. I didn't even know who you were. And then I saw on Delaware Today article or something. I was like, wait, that guy's from Delaware? I had no idea. So that was super cool. And then watching you since then has been crazy.
Yeah. So the Netflix show came out, Pressure Cooker, in January of 2023. I filmed it in 2022, so I had to wait almost a whole year
crazy.
To share it with anybody.
Wow.
And it's even weirder because it's not a show anyone's ever seen before. It's the first season.
Right.
So sharing that with everybody was oh man, I just can't wait to do this because it is a cool show. It's not a premise like that out there. Right. It's kind of like a mix between Big Brother and Top Chef.
Yes.
And you have
I think that's why I liked it so much. I'm a Big Brother fan.
Yeah, so my wife is a Big Brother super fan, and
love that.
That's when they basically pitched the show to me. We just had a little bit of time where I was waiting to get on the show, and I just Googled top 10 best Big Brother people ever, and I just
study them,
binge watched theirs. And luckily for me, I never really had to use any of that stuff that I learned. But
your cooking kind of spoke for itself.
Yeah, I was never not once in danger of going home.
Right.
Except for the challenge right before the finale, and if it had been based on votes of the food critics, if you watch the whole thing. We got the votes the day after. I would have been in the finale anyway because Mike had 5 votes, I had 4 votes, and the other 2 had 0 votes.
Wow.
So I earned my right into the finale, but Mike chose me to be there as well.
Cool.
So
it's double good.
Yeah, super good to feel that, and nothing but love for Mike. Maybe some other things other than love for some of the other contestants.
Right.
But
are you friends with them all still?
Most of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ed and I are super close.
Cool.
So Ed came to my wedding. I went to Ed's wedding. We kind of vacation together and stuff like that.
Because the Big Brother cast, they always clump together. You see them, they love to go Instagram famous. They love to keep that world going as long as they can.
Yeah. And I mean, Ed's put out a hip hop album. It's great. It's in really kind of my style of hip hop that I like, which is hip hop from the 90s.
Old school.
It's
That's
real
old
easy to listen.
Now.
Yeah, it's
and
old school
I'm a 90s
now.
Baby.
I know. It's old school. So I think it's really great. We listen to it in the kitchen. It's kind of
nice.
Good, just chill, get stuff done music. So I don't know that we're attempting to keep the flame alive, but there's some of us that just genuinely like each other. Myself, Ed, and then the surprise for most people is Gina.
Okay, yeah.
So we love Gina.
Say, so it was a very diverse cast.
Yes.
I thought.
Yeah, oh yeah. And, Lana and I are still friends, and we talk occasionally, but I would say I talk to Ed and Gina the most.
That's cool.
Gina got a real bad rap on the show, but I can tell you, if you're hanging out and having a good time, there's nobody you want more than Gina to be there. Yeah.
I love that. Good vibes all around.
Yeah.
So before we get into the shows and all the other shows you've been on, tell us, how did we get here? So you worked for your parents had a sports bar.
Mm-hmm.
Very young age, you knew you wanted to do this.
Yeah, so my parents had a sports bar in Newark. I would go in and clean the bathrooms and the floors
Started from the bottom.
Oh yeah, with my grandfather, and I was like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old at the time. So working child labor. Yep, super shady. And I would basically get paid with like a McMuffin and a roll of quarters, and I would put all the quarters back. I love the crane machine, the claw machine, so I'd put all the quarters back in the claw machine.
Right.
And then my grandfather would go and rewrap all the quarters. So he got me for like 2 whole summers on the same roll of quarters.
I love that. Did you win any prizes at least?
Oh yeah, like little, I'm sure they're all, like they did have like little pods, and they were running had like slips, and you would write your name on the slip for a chance to win like a TV.
Cool.
And my parents, I always won the TV, so they kept pulling out until they got someone's name that wasn't mine.
So funny.
So it was wasn't like stacking the deck against I just loved it and I was good at it. But when I was 12, my parents took over a seafood restaurant in Maryland called the Harbor House, and that's when I started working in kitchens. So I started washing dishes. I started making salads and soup and desserts. It was kind of like a little station of its own. And then I watched the line cooks, and I admired the line cooks.
Yeah.
They were all older than me with cars and girlfriends, and so I wanted to be like that. Right. So I was like, let me get in here and be a pirate like the rest of you. And I just picked up a knack for really the logistics of it. It's almost a lot of kitchens, and that kitchen in particular was very prep heavy and execution light.
So, is that standard for seafood?
Yeah. So I would say seafood, because it's a quick cook time.
Right.
You usually see more prep work done with seafood, and then it's 6 minutes on the grill, 8 minutes in the oven, whatever it is. So with that restaurant, I knew how to do the job. I could do 100 covers, 100 people on my own on that line, because I just processed that whole the mechanics of it all really well. I didn't know what I was making was expensive. I just knew that I knew how to make it, and this was my job to make it. So I'm doing filet mignon, medium rare, lobsters, crab imperial, crab cakes, which is not cheap stuff.
No,
but just hammering it out by the hundreds.
And they just let you run with it.
Yeah, I mean, so my dad was there with his thumb on me the whole time.
I'm sure.
Be faster, be better, be everything. And but yeah, at 14 I started working on the line, and at 15 I was running the line with my 15 and 16-year-old friends.
Wow.
We were a bunch of little badasses. When I think now, and I'm not one that talks shit on the next generation, but when I think now of what people think is difficult, and I look back to being 15 years old and doing 120 covers with 3 16-year-old friends, I'm that's
badass.
Yeah, it feels pretty cool. But it also helped just, by the time I went to culinary school, it really helped because I had that basis of line work and what line work was. Right. So it wasn't I was discovering how to be a line cook and also learning how to make things. I was really learning how to make things, and then stepped right into
honing into your craft.
Yeah.
More so. So where'd you go to high school?
Kent County High School, Kent County, Maryland. One high school for the whole county, which is why I don't understand the Delaware people always going, hey, where'd you go? Over. Yep. Because, we had one high school for the whole county.
It's so funny.
Yep. I got to actually go back. I go back all the time, but I got to go do the commencement speech.
Cool.
For my own high school, which was super fun.
That's really special.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay. So, you want to do this. When what's the app we're not going to go to normal college, we're going to go what happens now? We're senior in high school.
Yep. So senior in high school, my father did not want me to do this,
right?
Anything but do this. So I had great grades, and extracurriculars and all that stuff. And I had some free money to go to Michigan State for medical technology.
Wow. How different life would be.
And seen it and visited. And the thing that got me about visiting there is like I was leaving rural Kent County to go to semi-rural Michigan.
Colder version.
And I was like, I'm literally traveling, hours, and it's the same.
Right.
Like it felt like the same.
Right. It's not like an upgrade.
Also, we sat through like 20-minute like feelers for each course we were going to take, and the one course that I had as an elective was Intro to Restaurants. And
you're like, I don't need to spend money on this.
I was like, why am I going to come here and do something else when this is the only class that really interested me?
in. Wow.
So I told my dad and my mom probably 10 days before I was supposed to leave that I wasn't going to do that. Yep.
Wow.
And he had some choice words for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Told me it was going to be a waste of my life.
Right. The biggest mistake of your life. Yeah.
And you're not going to lay around my house. So I had saved a little bit of money, and I had some interest so I could start a massage school like certificate program. So I started that, and I could pay for it out of pocket. So
nice.
I have a certificate in massage and body work.
Interesting. Little fun fact.
And then I applied for culinary school.
So then you went the following year.
Yep. Graduated Culinary Institute of America. I did my internship at the Hotel DuPont and DuPont Country Club. So I floated between the two.
So that's where that comes from.
Yep. And then when I came home.
What year are we talking?
2006. 2006.
Okay.
Yep. So, and then when I came back, I would work for my father in the summertime because it was seasonal.
Are they still in the same restaurant at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd work there in the summertime, and then I would work at DuPont or the Hotel DuPont or DuPont Country Club in the wintertime.
Right.
We parted ways. I started working as a sous chef at Toscana, still doing the seasonal thing, which Dan at Toscana thought was great because they were busy in the winter.
Right.
My dad was busy in the summer,
so
so
it worked out.
He didn't have the labor burden of having that extra person there.
Right.
But when
Charlie's kind of slow in the summer. Everybody goes to Dewey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Toscana was in that location still.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So when he decided to renovate to Piccolino Toscana, that's when, we had a conversation that I needed to come on full time.
Wow.
I had also assumed the role of executive chef at that point, but still helping my dad out here and there. So I stopped working for my dad, started working at Toscana. I was there for 8 years.
Wow.
Together with the catering team, catered President Ashley Biden's wedding.
Yep.
Cooked for the King and Queen of Sweden. Won some Best of Delaware awards. I can't remember which ones then.
It's one of my questions. I'm pretty sure it's on here. Voted one of best chefs of America for Delaware from 2012 through 2014.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got that as well.
Best chef upstate 3 consecutive years. Yeah, these are big ones.
Yep. And then so I left there looking for a different experience. Went to 16 Mile Tap House, which turned into the Stone Balloon. So 16 Mile Tap House.
That was there a couple years. Like that was the short-lived, right?
Yes. And
that was probably like what, 2009 or 10? I think it was there when I was in college, 16 Mile. And I was there from 2011 to 15. It turned into Stone Balloon like my senior year, maybe like my first year out of college, 2017, 18.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, I went in there and I had left my really awesome job, but I was just looking for something different.
Yeah, new challenge.
And working for a new person at 16 Mile Tap House. And the second week I was there, my paycheck didn't clear.
It's crazy.
So there was like a series of like 3 or 4 or 5 months there where it was like really struggling. I had people come with me. It was like, we couldn't buy from anybody because they didn't, the previous ownership, not the current, most recent ownership, couldn't pay their bills, so we couldn't buy from a food company. We couldn't get shipments.
Right.
Like we were literally going to the farmer's market and buying everything. And we had a busy day. I'd have to go again just to get through dinner service. It was awful. So I went from the best job I'd had in my life, looking for something different, to a very shitty situation. Right. And luckily,
but I'm sure you learned a ton in that process.
Learned a ton about myself.
Right.
About how to motivate people that were extremely different than what I had, kind of come into.
Right.
At Toscana, I had built-in respect and a title that garnered that respect. And when I went to 16 Mile Tap House, I didn't have that.
Right.
And had to rediscover how to build that with people and people who didn't necessarily want me to be there. Mm-hmm. So, new company, High Five Hospitality, bought 16 Mile Tap House and turned it back into Stone Balloon.
Yep.
And then the rest is kind of history. You know, we flipped it to Stone Balloon Ale House, comfort food playfully reimagined, had a really great run at it there. That's where I won Best Chef 3 years in a row.
Yep.
Then I was, right around the time that they bought it, I had the invitation to go on Guy's Grocery Games, so I went and did that.
And was that your first show?
That was his first one, yep.
Cool.
So, went to go on Guys Grocery Games. Then
that
I
show.
went on Beat Bobby Flay.
Yep.
Then I was asked back to Guys Grocery Games again, so I went back again. And then probably, 6-7 years in between there and Pressure Cooker. But we opened Limestone Barbecue and Bourbon, best new restaurant, best
place.
barbecue restaurant.
Phenomenal.
Opened Expectations, which is a franchise, but we opened that location, and they've since gone on to open another location. I started a company or a couple of companies like in my free time on my own, and parted ways with that company. And that was kind of a long journey to get us to this point, which is I'm the owner of Pizzeria Mariana, which is going to go through a little conceptual change and a name change.
Okay.
I want to add some of my Eastern Shore roots to that. We're going to add some seafood. We still sell pizza because I love that pizza. It's great pizza. It's literally the same pizza recipe on the wall as the dough recipe as when the original owner had his food truck that he would go to like farmers markets and stuff.
Yeah.
So love that place, love that recipe. But
you just don't want to be limited by pizza. You want to do other things.
I just I feel like that pizzeria has gone through several ownerships and several different people's opinions, and we've kept things on there because it's like you don't really want to upset somebody by removing this. And
that's a town that is very loyal to its roots.
Yeah, so I'm like I can't live in somebody else's clothes anymore. So so we're gonna see a little revamp there. I'm super excited about it. Gonna add some barbecue elements to that as well as seafood. So you'll see that come around in the next couple of months.
Cool.
And then I own Ingest Events and Catering. So when I came home from Pressure Cooker, my situation was a little tumultuous. So I went the private chef route. And I never really thought that in this area that would be a viable thing as a business. And I learned very quickly that I was wrong about that.
It is, yeah.
And I got some help from people on the show, like Renee and Mike. They did give me advice and kind of like.
So you made those connections. You kept them strong.
Yep.
Nice.
And from there, I started doing the private chef stuff, and then I would have a client be like, "Hey, I have a auto dealership. We're doing Easter dinner. Will you, can you like cater that?"
Right.
And then I just started the catering, and then the catering just like exploded.
Blew
and now
up.
it's, I went from, and I'll talk about numbers because it's a real thing and I'm transparent. So,
love that. So are we.
So from April to the end of the year, the first year, I did about $150,000 in private chef revenue.
Wow.
Last year we did, just shy of 600,000, and this year we're on par to do 1.2 million.
Holy moly! Where are you doing all that?
So we started it out of my kitchen at my
That's what
house
I guessed.
when it was just private chef stuff, and then we started for the bigger stuff I would use the kitchen at the pizzeria.
Yep.
But then we started like bumping elbows
out of that.
and heads and
exactly.
everything.
I can imagine.
So now my commissary kitchen is down the street, next to Frank's Wine. So it used to be House of Laughs, but now it's my commissary kitchen, and then the location for a future project, which is Anora Wine Bar.
Can't wait. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Awesome stuff. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like every guest that we've had on, we have so many similarities with. We're calling them like celebrities, like Delaware celebrities or like local celebrities, right? Like faces in the crowd that like represent our state well. You're probably in the top 5, right? At this point. And we have so many similarities. We're doing real estate, totally different planet from you, but like this office started out in our house, right? Like this whole thing has started from like very, very small beginnings. And like, I think someone like you, I'm sure that keeps you pretty grounded, right? Like knowing your roots and knowing where you came from.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah.
I overstand all of that.
Yeah.
And it keeps you hungry.
Right.
Because you know what it's like to not have the money coming in.
To eat ramen.
Yeah.
That's like our analogy.
Yeah. Like you don't have the money to like, you're like, man, I'd really like to buy pizza, but my bank account's overdrawn because I'm waiting for, a party to come in. And people, that's the thing. So I have the pizzeria, I have the catering business. I'm building this over there and working on a couple different projects right now. People see this office and you walk in here and you're like, this is a beautiful office. Right. How cool to be on this street and as trendy as it is. And they think that you had an advantage that got you here. No. When really in all true. When really in all reality, they couldn't have given a shit when you were crying on the floor, broke, laying with your chin on your chest on your couch, with chips around you and tears on your stomach because you just didn't know what to do. And those are moments in entrepreneurship that you go to, but you have to believe that you're serving a larger purpose, not only for you and your family and the future of your family and hopefully future generations of your family, but just in general, the idea that you want to serve a larger purpose. And, you go through all that awful shit. And people see the nice stuff and they're like, oh, well, you had this. Because people will say to me, oh, well, you're so lucky you got on TV. You know how many Can I say fuck on this? You know how many fucking times I applied for TV before I was chosen? How many casting calls for Top Chef I went to? And notice I've never been on Top Chef. Top Chef's application is 47 fucking pages. I filled it out dozens of times. And everybody's like, oh, you got so lucky. No, I didn't. No. I worked hard. And yes, opportunity came to me, but I was in the position to take that opportunity. And I worked on myself enough to earn that opportunity. It's like pressure cooker. They're like, oh, how lucky for you. I've heard how lucky for you to get on there again. They didn't knock on your door, right? They're not, I'm I literally was on TV a couple times and took a look at it. I was like, okay, I'm not being cast anymore. I'm not being called anymore. Why is it? Well, you got fat. Well, your pictures suck. Well, you had this type of an experience or that type of experience. You worked for people who made you think that you had to subdue who you are as a person in order to serve the greater brand. And that's a big mission of mine right now. You're a brand in yourself. And it's why do you have to have a brand? Why can't the restaurant be your brand? Well, because when you decide you're done with me, then what? All I have is I've made you millions of dollars. So true. And this is something we talk about a ton. We're a team. We're the Garmin Group, right? We have our name, but we are very big on every teammate on our team having their own brand. We don't force them to put their logo on anything. We don't force anything on them. They are individual brands within our brand. And I think they benefit from our brand. But at the end of the day, they're not probably going to be here forever. Who knows, right? And we want them to feel like an individual within our team. And I think that's so crucial. And that's different than what's typical in our industry and probably different at your 100%. For you, what those previous, owners, were used to. And it's the put your name on a menu. This big, but don't stand in front of a picture. Or don't get recognized on your own. So interesting. And it's just counterintuitive to what's really, and they're the other thing too is when you're in that position and you start to have some attention and stuff, and you're working for someone else who maybe doesn't really know how to handle that. They do try to throw you a bone here or there, but when you're okay, I'm finally being supported, then it's out the knees. Stripped, and it's so true. And you really do if you find yourself in that frustrated space of you're frustrated all the time, and because of that frustration, that you have the capability to be a good team member and a good employee, but you're just not being because you feel that frustration. It's probably time to look at maybe you should work for yourself. That's awesome. I love that. So you're super involved with Delaware Restaurant Association, giving back to the community. How are we bringing up the next generation differently than you were? So one, I think that the barrier to entry for our business to make food in a way that's personal to you, that is sellable to other people, the barrier to entry is so much smaller than it's ever been. So the traditional education of, hey, go learn to be a chef, then go get your business degree, then come out and take out $1.5 million loan, and open a restaurant, hoping that it's the right location, hoping that there's nothing wrong with the building, hoping that you find the right people, not just to enjoy what you have to offer, but also to work for you and hope that you're the right leader that retains those people.
Right.
I think now, like the education part now is like you can do it whatever way you want.
Right.
Like I think that
There's so many different ways. People are selling food out of their houses on Instagram. Like there's so many different ways.
Commissary kitchens, food carts, food trucks,
food halls,
cottage license, food halls. Like there's just so many ways to do it and do it intelligently and work on this product. And this product is like, you know, you might make, I have a friend that does this and they're phenomenal. She makes empanadas and she has a whole business now she's built on the empanadas. And if she ever wants to expand, she's learning all of the things that she needs to learn about business making empanadas while it's small.
Right.
And imagine the mistakes that you can make when it's small that feel devastating to you because you're a business owner. But if you had $1.5 million restaurant, you learn that, you learn that lesson.
Right.
That's like something you don't come back from.
Right.
You know, so I think that, you know, starting small, specializing, starting with a great product, but there's so much education around business and food and everything now that like you have to be excellent, otherwise you fail. You have to be excellent at something. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are the best cheeseburger maker around. But maybe you are a great cheeseburger maker, but you're the best with atmosphere and environment.
Right.
You build this atmosphere and environment that makes people feel cool, feel comfort, feel alive being in your space. You have a great burger, but you're fantastic at that. So now you have a really cool space.
Right.
And you can make the burger more great, but like that's what's marketable and that's your thing.
So
and
true.
Everybody's thing doesn't have to be the best mousetrap.
Right.
It has to be, maybe it's the best place to put it.
Right.
Maybe you're a fantastic marketer.
Yeah.
Maybe you're great at building a community and your like Nick's Pizza, because I'm looking at the like you want to talk about building a community and just going with it. Like great product, but also understands the value of social media and the value of scarcity.
Yes.
And I will tell you, from a place that tried to do the scarcity thing in Delaware, it's a tough thing in Delaware because people don't understand that. Like, he's got a mixer. The mixer is capable of mixing this many dough balls.
Right.
And when he's out, he's out.
Right, he's out. And he's had days where he's posted like, hey, it didn't come out good today. Like, I'm not selling today. Like, I'm not putting out a bad product. Like, I'm not, So we respect him a ton. He's a great dude. So of all the shows you've been on and all the, you know, acclimates, what was your favorite experience? Like, just like fun. I really liked, you know, was it Guys Groceries? Was it Netflix? Is it something you've done locally? Like, what's been your favorite?
So I would say pressure cooker.
Pressure cooker, cool.
Yeah, without a doubt, pressure cooker. I mean, Guys Grocery Games is great. Meeting Guy is great. Beating Bobby Flay, who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
But pressure cooker, because the relationships and the friendships.
Right.
Like I said, the situation around me being there was a little like tumultuous.
And where was that? Where was that filmed?
L.A.
Nice.
Yep.
And how long were you there?
Almost a month.
Almost a month. Wow. Were you in a hotel? Like, where are they putting you guys up?
No. And we stayed in the.
So I always wonder with these shows, like, in my brain, I'm like, they're all going to hotels after this. Like, they're just filming in the living room. Like, you really lived there.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's a lot of conversations and stuff that we don't see then.
Yeah. So, and that, if I had one regret about the way the show was edited and shown, was you saw 8 episodes, but they had enough to do.
But if you're living there, you have
24 episodes, like Big Brother or something like that.
Right.
There was like, because I mean, and I really feel like in future seasons, that's gonna have to be be the focus.
Yeah, because people enjoy that.
Yeah, and like we made family meal together every day. You know,
the stuff we don't see.
We did, like, we had the great big giant pizza oven in there. Well, one of the first nights I made pizza as family meal.
Wow.
And like we all just talked about, but there was also like interpersonal interactions that you didn't get to see. Like, there's one really special moment between Sergey and I early on, which everybody was there, but it was like I heard him doubting himself, and you didn't see this. So he's like, you know, I'm just trying to find my place in the world and as a chef and understand who I am.
And you guys have all felt that way, I'm sure.
I feel like I'm so far away and everything. I was like, I'm going to tell you right now, stop that, because you beat out thousands of people to be in this situation. And I can tell you, after being around you 2 or 3 days, that every day after this, if there's a plate that comes out, I'm going to know which one's your plate. And it's like, I've been in the business for 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
And I don't know my identity as a chef. I'm just like starting to learn it and figure it out.
Right, you're young.
That's a special thing, and you just need to amplify that.
Right.
And season your food and not make everything raw. Right. But you just need to, like, he's extremely talented.
Raw, not good. Not always good. Yeah. Sometimes good.
So, it's like there were special moments like that. That's cool. That's the point of that, is like we didn't get to see those special moments because it made it all about the food and stuff like that. Jumping
into your latest venture, you're currently opening a space in the Wilmington area. Tell us about that.
Yes, so it's we have a coming soon sign on the door now, so we can like start to talk about it some.
Cool.
But it will be Anura Wine Bar.
How do you spell that? Anura.
Anura.
Okay.
And it will be a partnership between myself and Colleen and Frank from Frank's Wines.
I'm a huge Frank's Wines fan. Frank specifically. I don't know Colleen, but I know Frank. He did some wine tasting with us in COVID.
Yeah. Okay.
And
great.
I had some fun experiences with Frank.
Yeah. Frank is definitely
great people.
He's definitely a character, but I came on. And this all just kind of happened organically. I came on to license the kitchen from them for my commissary space. And they have a dream. Colleen has a dream for a wine bar. Mm-hmm. And she did hospitality, food and hospitality when she was younger. Life takes us down different paths. But I think that she's really excited to venture down that path again. And it's even evolved now from like what we originally talked about, which was a wine bar. It's called Anura Wine Bar, so it's not secret. There's no secret there.
Can't hide that.
But we really went from talking about it being just a few like meat and cheese boards and like wine bar stuff.
So we don't have this in Delaware, right?
Yeah, correct.
I don't know of anywhere. I mean, there's places you can get a good glass of wine, 100%. Yep. But like this concept, I don't know is in Delaware. So I'm super excited for this.
So, and we're excited too. So it's as we've gotten more comfortable with each other in the conversations and getting closer to renovation and stuff like that, we've talked about really kind of leaning into the food offerings here.
Cool.
Not you can have dinner if you want, but we're not leaning towards like large plates or entrees, but just some fantastic wine bar food like you would see in Modena in Italy or in France, like really focusing on bold flavors that pair well with the wine education, wine service, and then just knocking it off. We really would love to be the place, and this is kind of and this could change. We would love to be the place that you come before or after you have dinner.
This is like someone like me, like, the babysitter's a half hour early, like a reservation's not till 8. Let's go out at 6 instead. Like that perfect, pre-dinner, or you're out at an event and the event's lame and you want to just go get a drink with your husband instead. Like, I think we'll be there a ton.
Yeah, so we think we plan on having delicious items that could be labeled as snacks. The menu is going to lean, we think, a little more to Mediterranean, but then we're going to hit it over the head with excellent pastries to finish it off too.
Heck yeah.
Super excited about it. And again, it's a concept that's developing and we're working on it. We should start renovation soon. And it also will have event venue and space attached to it.
Love that. We don't have that. We need that in this area.
Yep. So we'll keep the stage that was in there.
Cool.
But really the rest of the space will transform.
What type of events are you targeting?
So the space is big.
Yeah.
So we really aren't. So business events.
Yep.
I would say mid-size weddings, even conference style events, as well as just local organizations that want to, have 25 people at one long table and have a beautiful dinner together to celebrate together.
Yeah.
The wine and whiskey clubs in the area, we've already, talked to them. We've done some charity events in the space with charity licenses.
Cool.
Where we, you partner with a nonprofit. But we really just kind of, again, it's all figuring out how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it's super excited to have that venue space because I have a catering company.
Right. Makes sense.
And we do have a name for the event space. which again could change, but I'm transparent, and Frank, don't be mad at me. Colleen, don't be mad at me. It's called The Leap.
Love
that. Frank,
they're the
Frank
frogs.
has a love
they
for
love
frogs.
the frogs. Yep.
But for me, it really is. It is symbolic of finally being fully out on my own.
I love this.
And taking the
leap. We talk about this all the time. Vincent just talked about this in the last podcast. Like, a lot of entrepreneurship is jumping out of a plane and building the parachute on the way down. Just figuring it out.
Yeah.
Just figuring it out. I mean, like, think about it. Like, and you don't know, a ton about us, but like, I joined this team almost 2.5 years ago, and like, I quit my full-time job. Like, I had the W-2, I had the health insurance, right? Like, Vincent was kind of off figuring this out on his own, and it was finally just like came to a head of like, are we going to do this or not? Like, are we going to go all in? And we're real estate investors as well. So, talking about eating ramen, like, we've cleared out our bank account many times. Like, we've been in the negatives. We're comfortable in the I'm used to being in the negatives now. But like, the leap, like, I love that. Like, sometimes you literally just have to take the jump.
Yep.
It's just the jump, and you'll figure it out. When your back's up against the wall, you'll figure it out.
Yep.
Hopefully.
I mean, the things that I've been through in the last couple of years have made me so much smarter.
Yep.
And it's funny because people are like, would you, does all of this stuff that you've been through, like, do you like not trust other people and stuff like that? No, I trust them. I trust them enough to have it all clearly lined out in contractual obligation.
Right.
But I'll trust you till I don't.
Till I can't. Right.
And it's, it's one of those things that, like, I look at any of the hardship or strife or mistakes that I've gone through as a person, and I look at them as like they're my fault as a person. I wasn't prepared enough, smart enough, strong enough, whatever the case may be. Well, and I've learned from that, so I won't repeat those things, but it doesn't make me cold towards other people.
Sure. So if you are going out for lunch or dinner, like, you're looking for somewhere to go, where in Delaware, where's like your favorites? Like, not your places, or places that you've, contributed to. Where do you like to go?
So, we live in Pike Creek. So I'll break it down: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, let's go.
Breakfast, we love to do. So we love Drip Cafe, and I love Greg.
Love Greg. He's a great dude. Which one do you go to? Hokessen?
So I go to Hokessen the most. I get the Cali as a wrap instead of a sandwich.
That's a great vibe, great ambiance. Yeah. You talked about that. He's done some beautiful things there.
He sure has. Peach Blossom.
Everyone loves that place.
I think that Sam at Peach Blossom is possibly the best chef in Delaware and doesn't get the credit for it.
Wow.
Because she's done it at 4:00.
Right.
But I just think that she's unbelievable and incredible at what she does. For me, dinner, if I'm feeling old school, I love Harry Savoy.
Okay, love that.
If I'm feeling pasta, there's something for the Tortellini at Toscana.
Yep.
I do love to venture over to Bardea Steak.
Yep.
I'm more of a Bardea Steak fan than a Bardea fan.
I'm the opposite.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hey, that's why
everybody's
they have,
different.
That's why they have Bardea and Bardea Steak.
Yeah, correct.
They have different flavors for different people.
Correct.
What's funny is when I go to Bardea Steak, though, I never order the steak. I think the other offerings on the menu are so exciting.
Good to know.
That I order the other stuff, and I almost know, like, we'll get A5 Wagyu, we're like celebrating or something.
Yeah.
Love that stuff, but I love going down to the beach too. I love One Coastal by Matt Kern down at the beach.
Yep. What's that look like when you're at these places? Like, do you like dap the, like, you got to be friends with these guys, right?
Yeah, I try to be as low profile as
right, opposite of what you think.
It kind of drives my wife a little nuts because they'll make a big deal about me.
Right.
I live in Pike Creek, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we love Valleys.
Okay.
We do it as takeout more often than anything else.
Okay.
But then I love some of the smaller, like, more niche stuff. So my wife doesn't enjoy it, but I love Alibaba in Newark. I get the Moroccan chicken. So the trick is you get the Moroccan chicken, you get the hummus, you get the carrot and greens. Take the pita from the hummus, scoop up the hummus, put the carrot and greens in there, rip a piece of chicken off. It's like the perfect bite of food.
Love that.
Also love Gyro Kebab House. If you've ever been there, get the New York style gyro.
Okay.
Because it's like a gyro chopped up. And I know I'm not saying that right, but everybody, like, people know what it is. Chopped up over rice with like the tzatziki sauce.
It's phenomenal.
So good.
Oh, Yeah, we crush a lot of Opa just because, I mean, first of all, it's so fire and it's so convenient. We just, yeah. Gets the job done. Super
Sure
Tuesdays,
does.
they have a super cheap platter and we crush that all the time. I love that. So what's your favorite thing to make? If you're like in the kitchen at home, making a quick dinner for you and your wife, what's that look like?
Doesn't happen often. I don't like
can
to
imagine.
cook at home. I want to write a cookbook that's called I Hate to Fucking Cook at Home.
I love that. What is it? The shoemaker's kids don't have shoes?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And it's, what do I make when we're home? It's really it's like a mystery dinner, to be honest with you. Like if I'm cooking at home, I'm like looking at what we have. I'm not one of those guys that when I cook at home, I've planned that I'm gonna make French onion soup and I've coaxed these onions for 4 hours because no, it's like here's what we have in the fridge. Here's what we have in the pantry. I'm gonna take all of this into a cohesive meal, protein forward with a vegetable and a starch. And
call it a day.
It's going to be whatever it's going to be.
Call it a day. It's going to be well seasoned. It's going to be good to go. Right. Well cooked. But it's simple.
Yep.
But we're looking simple. I love that. Yeah.
As far as like favorite things to cook as a professional, it's seasonal. It's time of year. It's feeling, it's,
love that.
It's emotional. It's, braised items
Meaningful.
in the winter. And as soon as it gets a little bit cold, I want soup. And in the summertime, I want dishes with fresh crab and fresh corn. And, it changes. Pastas, whatever pastas fit into the season, those kind of throughout. I do enjoy making pasta.
Love that. So switching gears here, kind of out of the food world into your personal life and family, you're recently a new father.
I sure am.
You have a daughter.
6 weeks, yep. Winnie Jo.
I'm obsessed with her name. So I have a son named Winslow, and we call him Winnie.
Okay.
Not all the time. We don't want it to stick. I think Winnie's cute for a girl. But he's just like our little Winnie for now. But like long term, he's Winslow. So how's it been?
Amazing.
Best
thing I've ever done. I do think as a father, there's a lot of men out there that try and intimidate you when you're going to become a dad.
Totally.
They talk all this shit about,
you're not going to sleep.
your
wife's
sleep,
a
you're not
monster.
Gonna do this, and stop that.
Yeah, stop that.
Stop it.
It's so true.
It's such a beautiful process. And one of the things I think that made it super beautiful was like, okay, I'm hearing all this static from everybody. They're like trying to
scare you.
Trying to scare you, trying to rally you, whatever they're trying to do. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I was like, what? I'm just not going to listen to any of that. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to read a baby book so I know what's going to happen. But I'm not going to analyze everything. And what it did was both throughout the pregnancy, throughout the birth, and then now that she's here, it has allowed me to really experience all the things in a beautiful, on hand, purposeful, intentional, and present way.
It's awesome.
Versus being preoccupied with all this bullshit that other people told me.
Right.
I thought that the process of watching my wife become a mother was possibly the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
I love this.
And it, I loved my wife, and I'm the type of man that really loves my wife, but I have fallen more in love with my wife watching her do this.
It's so true. My husband always says, it's the most selfless thing. I've done it twice now, and I have such a new respect for my mom, my grandparent, any other mom, or my mom friends that have been doing this longer than me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. You don't know until you're in it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. Well, that's awesome. Do you think there's more kids on the horizon?
So when she first arrived, I looked at my wife. I said, I think we're one and done.
We're good.
She was like, why? I was like, because she's perfect. I think if we do it again, we'll screw it up.
It's so true.
But no, there's definitely more kids in the future.
I love that.
At least one.
Yes.
I think if we hit it with a boy-girl combo.
Right.
That
what more could you want?
I think that then we're done. But
Tell
if
that to
not,
my husband.
We'll try again.
We have the boy-girl combo, and I love them both so differently. Mm-hmm. And I will say I feel very blessed that I get to experience both. But we'll see. I don't know. We may have more. We may not. We'll see. Right now, I'm just trying to get the second one to sleep through the night, and I'll probably spend the rest of my life doing that. So well, that's fun. Who inspires you?
Man, I've never been asked that question.
Ooh, look at us.
I do a lot of
I've
I do a lot of interviews.
And he does. Go on his Instagram.
So
He has a lot of interviews. So I stumped him.
Yeah. So who inspires me?
And that could be life, cooking, entrepreneurship,
for me,
anything.
So not a whole lot of chefs because, well, I think it's admirable what chefs do and what they've done for their community. There's not a lot of them do it from a self-serving spot.
Yeah.
So for
or
me,
for the money or for whatever.
So for me, it's the people that inspire me are people that unashamedly go for their dream, that have defined what that dream is so concretely in their brain and seek it through all the bullshit and then achieve it. So for me, like, I love like golden buzzer moments on America's like Got Talent. If I'm having like a bad week or something, I literally will go into like Facebook videos and search golden buzzer moments.
Right.
Because to me, that is someone that has a dream that goes after it. And it's some people
so
get
clear.
it super early, but other people, you know, it's so clear to them. And to watch them have that moment, like we'll watch American Idol, my wife and I, and people that like go through true adversity, because there's a lot of people in this life that go through adversity and really don't have a fucking clue what hard actually is. And then there's people that go through something so awful, you're like, oh my God. And then they step out and sing like an angel and get that opportunity and get recognized.
And it puts things into perspective too when you go through, when you see those types of things.
It's even like we'll watch Survivor and you'll see somebody who's a super fan of Survivor watch it and then be on it and then get to the position to make fire at the end. Like I'll cry watching that shit. I'm like, this is this person's dream. And our dreams are so different now because you know, somebody else from like an old school generation would like look at that and be like, well, how shallow is that? That's they wanted to be on TV or whatever. But like, that's a dream. They worked towards it. They applied for it. They
probably many times.
They overcame the adversity. I mean, think about how many millions of people apply for Survivor.
Millions. Can't imagine.
So you had to do something that made you special enough to receive the opportunity, probably multiple times, like you said, probably a lot. And then from there, you had to outwit and outlast every single person.
That show's no joke.
And it is no joke. And I think
There's
in
no
any realm, anybody that does that and goes for it like that is admirable to me and inspiring to me. I find myself, I don't look up to particular individuals for a long period of time. Because when you put your heroes on a pedestal, the only place that they have is to fall. So there's,
and they disappoint you then.
So there's, you know, I look
and
up,
you're growing.
And you're growing and you're, but it's like when you grow up and realize that your parents are real people, like you transform, like they're this untouchable entity until you start to like realize that this is a human. They've made mistakes, they still make mistakes, and you peel back like those feelings. And I think it's just like, because at the end of the day, somebody that you look up to like on the internet, like I look up to Andy Frisella. I don't agree with that's the CEO of First World. I don't agree with everything that he says, but when I first started following him, I would have said everything he said, you know. But now it's like I'm my own person with my own individual things, and I think it's a dangerous place to like hold one person and then have your identity be attached to that one person.
I love that. So tell us, you kind of just went into it. Tell us about your fitness journey and everything you're going through there.
So I've you know, struggled my entire career, my entire adult life with being bigger and lazy and out of shape, and didn't have an example growing up of like what it was like to like maintain a healthy lifestyle outside of work. So it was either work until you're dead, which is basically literally what my father did, or you got to have the fitness and all of that stuff, but you didn't have like the way that it was portrayed to me. You didn't have the balance. You didn't have, if you had all of that stuff, then you didn't have the career.
You can't have both.
You couldn't have both.
I'm kind of going through like an identity crisis with that right now. Like coming out of being a mom, I was a CrossFitter before. Now I'm a mom, and now like where do I fit into this? So I'm excited to hear you say more.
And you'll find that. So for me, it's been years of working out, and I've worked out on and off with a personal trainer for years now, but I never felt comfortable in a gym till probably about 6 months ago.
Wow.
Like, knew the movements, knew what to do, knew how to put myself through a workout, but never felt comfortable. And then I just got to this space where I found myself, I went to the gym in the morning, and then like mid-afternoon, I was like, I think I might go to the gym again.
Wow.
And I was like, it's like this, like,
light bulb.
Yeah, I was like, I actually enjoyed that. The exertion, the challenge, the alone time, like all that stuff. Like, I actually enjoy that. Like, it can be enjoyable.
Yes.
But I also stopped doing the workouts that I thought I should be doing.
Right.
And started doing things that really felt good to me.
Yes, love that.
Like that.
That's so important.
So throughout this process, I've been a fan of Andy Frisella and First Form for a long time. What they do as a company, the transformations they do to people, but the culture they have within that company of personal growth and building positive and fun relationships is just something I've resonated with as a business owner first, and then as, you know, someone that's trying to be healthier. So I've been watching that, and then I had the opportunity to partner with them on Fail Proof Kitchen on YouTube.
Cool.
It's a cooking show that we've developed for their First Form University channel, where I am in the kitchen with one of their athletes, Jenna Fail, wonderful person, and she like, I basically am teaching her the tips and tricks of a professional chef. And they kind of told me that she didn't really know how to cook when I started. What I learned is, like, she really wasn't as bad as they had painted it, and picks things up super quick. So it's really neat too, like, not just putting on the show and showing her how to cook, but it's neat to see her progress, like her knife skills. Like, the last season that we filmed, she was like cutting chives or something like that. I was like, oh shit!
Whoa, who taught you that?
You look like you look like a real chef now with that thing in your hand. So through that, they knew I'd been struggling, so we've started another series that will start to air in episodes, but really focusing on me getting healthier and building it as a lifestyle inside of everything else that I do. Because I've lost weight before. I will say I've been lighter than I am now, but I've never been in better shape. Like, I've been lighter than I am now, but never as strong.
Yes.
The weights that I can push now.
It's so mental. So mental.
So it's funny because I've dropped at this point since, you know, really partnering with them and focusing. And this was like before the baby came, like 42 pounds. I'm
beautiful.
Down.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But it's like I'd gone through hell. I'd gained a bunch of weight. Nothing really mattered except for comfort. And that's a scary place to be in, when nothing matters to you but the comfort. Like, I would love to have a second cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory. It was 3 hours ago. I'm good.
Right.
Like,
doesn't count.
You know, that's awful, and it's unfulfilling. And like, I know that I got to that place and I had to work through it, but now it's like, this can be something that's integrated into my life. Sustainable in my life, you know? So I'm doing the 75 Hard program.
Hell yeah, right now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, on day 26.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can set my mind to anything, right? But like, looking at that, I'm like, holy moly, like, how do people do that?
Yeah.
It's the twice a day workout for me that's where I really hesitate. I think I can do the rest, but the one outside workout,
regardless of weather, temperature.
Like, I'm like it's raining, I'm staying inside kind of girly.
So I'll tell you that some of the shittier ones, you do start to lean into the shittier ones,
right? Like,
when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's snowing, like, really, like, getting in there. So I started the program before she was born.
Wow.
Then we were in the hospital for 2 days.
How'd you do that?
So I didn't. So I failed.
Okay.
And then restarted. When the day she came home.
Wow.
So I've been doing it.
God bless your wife.
Yeah, she puts up with a lot. Because when I'm rolling out of the house at 11 p.m. to get the walk in, you know,
she's looking at you like, what the hell?
Yeah, but she's a rock star.
She's a rock star. I can imagine.
Really, really is.
Moms are beasts.
Like, I just can't say it enough. Like, I'm enthralled with how she has transformed into a mom.
Yeah.
And
she knows what she signed up for with you, I'm sure. Like,
Yes.
I know Vincent and I feel that sometimes, like, when we had our first, like, I came back to the office, she was 5 days old. I was back in here. And, like, I knew what I signed up for. Like,
Yep.
I knew this was the life I chose. And now, on the flip side, you know, when she's sick, I can stay home with her. I don't have to, you know, I can cancel all my meetings and stay home with her, you know? So there's, like, the, you know, ups and downs of it.
I have that now too. So
Right.
yeah, I went back to work. I did take a little bit of paternity leave.
Good for
So
you.
I do think that I was probably 2-3 weeks
Good.
without really doing a whole lot.
Right,
But then like there were just opportunities coming and I
Can't
had to
pass
be a
them up,
part
I
of
know.
it. Yeah.
I get it.
so-
That's how I was, too.
Yeah, so it was like I had to be a part of these conversations.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that my team could just do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get out there, you do the walk. I do mine with a weighted vest. I think it's got 40 pounds in it now. Wow. Or I'll do like an elevated treadmill walk at the house if I can't make it to the gym and do the outdoor workout.
What gym do you go
so
to?
sometimes Edge.
Nice. Pike Creek Edge. That's where Jade Ruff goes on our team.
Yep. So I think it's a fantastic gym.
Yeah, she loves it.
I think that maybe we need to weed out some of the little kids that throw their paper towels on the ground, because like if you watch any of First Form's content or
Right.
Andy's content, like they have a gym at their headquarters.
Sure.
I don't know if you're familiar at all.
A little bit, but not a ton.
So you should see a little bit. So I went to headquarters in the gym. Every single plate is exactly the same direction. Every single
beautiful
dumbbell is
thing.
exactly the same
It's very
direction.
respectful.
And the place is immaculate, and they don't have a team that cleans.
It's beautiful.
They all self-clean.
I love
so
that.
like when they go and use the restroom, wash their hands, they will finish washing their hands and then grab a paper towel, wipe all the water droplets off of the surface, and it will be a dry sink with no water.
It's just the way
in
of
it.
life.
It's just the way that they operate.
Yeah.
And when you go stand in that, you just start doing those things.
Right.
Like I had
Osmosis.
listened to the podcast and I knew those things, but when I was standing next to a guy that was drying the sink off, I'm drying the sink
You're like,
off.
I want to do that.
Yeah, 100%. So
love
it
that.
just, and everything they do is like that. So now, like at the edge, like I find myself straightening the dumbbells and
Yeah.
picking up people's trash.
Right.
And
You're like, why
stuff
isn't
like
anyone
that.
else doing this?
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, it's like, you know, I know why other people aren't
Right.
doing it, but at the same
Different.
time, like I hope that
Yeah.
maybe that
somebody notices.
maybe that punk ass kid that dropped their trash on the ground sees me pick their trash up and goes,
Right. I'm an asshole.
yeah.
So what do you want to leave us with? What should we keep an eye out for? What are we, what would you like to be your parting words?
Just eat delicious food. Do it with people that you love. Support your local businesses,
Yes.
regardless
Yes.
of how convenient the non-local businesses would be, because it is a tough time. We thought we went through a tough time in COVID,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of assistance. All of the assistance is gone. You're going to see your favorite places close if you don't support them.
So true.
So support your favorite local business, even if it's not convenient. And you
Shout
know
them
what?
out on social media. Like, there's so many ways you can support. Wear their swag.
Yep.
Right.
Do a review for your local
Yeah,
business,
so
because
true.
the reviews bring the SEO up, brings them to the top of Google, brings everything up for them. So please leave a review. And you know what? For every business out there doing business, offer a little bit of freaking grace, because nobody's
Yeah,
perfect. You
it's true.
certainly aren't perfect. And you should operate with a little bit of grace and a little bit of love, because people do just have a bad day.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining us. It was awesome to have you today.
It was great. I'd love to come back
I can't wait
anytime
for
you
the
want.
wine bar. I will be there.
Should have brought some food today.
It's all good. Well, thanks. That's Life on the Ave, and we'll see you soon.